What's going on, YouTube? This is Mag Dog TV coming back with breaking news. Adam Schefter, NFL insider, just reported that the Cincinnati Bengals star quarterback Joe Burrow will need toe surgery that will sideline him for a minimum of 3 months. Bengal fans are calling for Shedeur Sanders after the Bengals search for another quarterback. We're going to talk about that in this video.
Obviously, I would never fault a father for believing in his own son. And look, it's entirely possible that Deion Sanders knows something that I don't. It's entirely possible that Daddy Deion has access to inside information. Maybe he is talking about Shedeur Sanders.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. I'm not going to lie to you. When the alert hit my phone, my stomach dropped. One line, one injury, and in a single breath, the whole season tilted. You could feel it through the screen. The crowd noise fading into that weird, empty quiet. The camera staying a second too long on teammates staring at the turf like it just stole something from them. Joe Burrow isn't just the quarterback in Cincinnati, he's the compass. When he grimaces, the city flinches. When he limps, the locker room exhales in broken pieces. I kept replaying the moment. Not because I wanted to, but because that's what we do when we can't believe the thing we just saw. This was supposed to be the run, the recalibration year, the late push. And then, snap, every conversation in the building changes from how far can we go to who keeps us afloat. You can hear the tone shift if you listen closely. Coaches go from confident to careful. Players turn their eyes to the floor in interviews, clutching cliches like life vests. Next man up, one day at a time, we trust the room. But it doesn't sound like belief, it sounds like triage. And the fan base? Man, the fan base went through the whole grief cycle in 15 minutes. Shock, anger, bargaining with the football gods. Then the comments start pouring in like a storm front. We can't waste Chase's prime. We can't punt the year. We can't go back to life before Burrow. It's raw because it's true. For this roster with these expectations, there is no such thing as a neutral season. There's only forward or free fall. Watch how fast the narratives form when the face of a franchise falls. It's wild. Studio panels move from toe timeline in surgery windows to whiteboards with contingency plans. Beat writers start threading possibilities like detectives on a corkboard. In-house stopgap, veteran rental, trade, and as the noise thickens, one name slices through it with that clean, undeniable edge. You know the name. I know the name. The timeline knows the name. Shedeur Sanders. You can call it desperation or you can call it clarity, but in moments like this, fans don't ask for safe. They ask for oxygen. They want a spark with a pulse, not a clipboard with a visor. They want someone who won't just babysit the playbook, but will make the huddle feel alive again. That's the part people outside the city miss. Burrow isn't only a processor and a passer, he's a mood, a standard. He walks on the field, and it's like the stadium inhales hope. Take that away, and every drive is twice as heavy, every misread feels like a breakup, and every punt sounds like a door closing. So the mind goes searching for the next heartbeat, the next voice that can reboot belief. That's why you saw it immediately. The quotes, the clips, the fan edits, the hear me out threads that start tentatively and end in all caps. Not because Shedeur is a celebrity surname, but because the idea of him right now represents something Cincinnati can't manufacture on a practice field. Surge, swagger, a shot at continuity of courage. I'm watching the sideline shots, the taps on the helmet, the 1,000-yard stares, the quiet between coaches and backups where the truth lives, and all I can think is this. The Bengals aren't just missing throws, they're missing identity. And when identity cracks, hope either leaks out or someone seals it from the inside. That's the line. That's the choice. That's why the conversation flipped from Super Bowl to who's next up in a single afternoon. Because deep down, everyone understands what's really at stake here. This isn't just about replacing Joe Burrow. This is about saving Cincinnati's soul. You ever notice how fast a name starts echoing when the league senses opportunity? It's wild. One injury report drops, one team starts scrambling, and suddenly every fan in the country is saying the same name. Shedeur Sanders. And it's not random. It's not hype for hype's sake. It's because this kid checks boxes that Bengals fans care about on a soul level. Not just stats, not just arm strength, but that presence, that quiet, icy swagger that makes a whole sideline believe again. Let's talk football first. You turn on the tape, and it jumps out immediately. The arm talent. Legit. He's not just flicking screens and bubble routes. He's reading leverage, anticipating breaks, throwing receivers open. That's NFL DNA right there. The pocket poise, cold. You can bring pressure, collapse the edge, flush him from structure, and he still looks like he's playing chess while everyone else is sprinting. But what really makes people talk is the calm, the charisma, that unteachable composure you only see in the elite. We saw Burrow bring it to Cincinnati, that silent confidence, that I got us body language. And when fans see a little of that in Shedeur, man, they feel it. It's like deja vu with a new twist. Now stack that against what's on the depth chart right now. Jake Browning, solid guy, smart, coachable. He's been around the system. But let's be real. This isn't about running plays from a clipboard. The Bengals don't need a placeholder. They need electricity. They need someone who can walk into that huddle and make Chase and Higgins believe again. Browning's fine when the game's calm, but what happens when it's 3rd and 9, 2 minutes left, and you need that one throw off script, off balance, with the whole city holding its breath? That's where talent separates from tenure. That's why fans are restless. Because stability doesn't win championships. Swagger does. And look, Bengal Nation remembers. They remember the years before Burrow, the Dalton days, the quarterback carousel, the endless, maybe next year cycles. They know what hopeless feels like. They've lived the Sundays where you watch other teams have their guy and wonder if you'll ever have one again. Burrow ended that question. He brought back relevance, confidence, fear, opposing defenses, game planning weeks ahead just to slow him down. And now that he's hurt, that fear is gone. Defenses aren't scared of Jake Browning. They're licking their chops. So fans are looking for the next signal, the next heartbeat, the next player who makes other teams nervous again. That's why this isn't just about raw ability. It's about identity. When fans say, get Shedeur, they're not just chasing potential, they're chasing belief. They see a kid who doesn't flinch under pressure, who's been under the brightest lights his entire life, who carries that same unshakable calm that turned Colorado games into national events. And in a moment where everything in Cincinnati feels unstable, belief is worth more than experience. But here's the thing. Not everyone's on board. Not everyone wants to see that name trending. Behind closed doors, there's hesitation, and not for football reasons. Let's be real. Not every story in this league is written on the field. Some are shaped in meeting rooms, in whispers, in boardrooms where football reasons are just code for politics. And that's the wall Shedeur Sanders is staring at right now. It's not about whether he can throw a deep out or lead a 2-minute drill. We already know he can. This is about perception. This is about power. And it's about a system that still decides who gets a chance and who gets told to wait their turn. See, the minute Shedeur's name started trending, you could feel the pushback forming. It's subtle. A raised eyebrow here. A talking head dropping that same tired line. He's not ready. Ready compared to who? Compared to backups who've bounced around 5 practice squads and still get calls the second a starter goes down? Ready compared to guys who've been given years to prove they can't lead a locker room, while Shedeur can't even get a real shot to show he can? Come on, you know what this is. It's not about skill. It's about control. There's a certain type of quarterback the old guard feels comfortable with. They like predictability. They like someone they can manage. But Shedeur? He carries himself with presence. He walks into a room like he belongs, because he does. And for some front offices, that confidence reads as threat, not leadership. They see Daion's kid before they see a franchise quarterback. And that label follows him like a shadow. Doesn't matter how clean his mechanics are, how sharp his reads are, how steady he stays under pressure. To them, he's not just another young passer. He's part of a narrative they can't control. And let's not pretend we haven't seen this movie before. The league has always had a weird relationship with quarterbacks who carry personality, especially young black quarterbacks who refuse to shrink themselves to fit an outdated mold. Think about how long it took for people to believe in Lamar. Think about how many scouts questioned Jalen Hurts' arm before he turned Philly into a powerhouse. Every one of them had to outperform their label before they were allowed to own their story. That's the game within the game, proving you're not just good for your name, but good for their system. What makes Shedeur's situation even trickier is his last name. Deion isn't just a father, he's an institution. He's vocal, he's visible, he's unfiltered. And for some executives who run this league like an old country club, that kind of spotlight feels uncomfortable. They don't want the headlines, the attention, the energy that comes with it. They'll never say it out loud, but you can see it in the hesitation. We don't want a distraction. You've heard that one before, right? The classic excuse when they don't want to deal with a player they can't fully own. So here we are. Shedeur's name is buzzing. The fit makes football sense, and yet there's silence from the top. And that silence says everything. Because if the NFL is really what it claims to be, a league built on merit, on competition, on earning your shot, then there's only one move to make. You bring in the guy who's ready. You give him the opportunity he's earned. But if they pass him again, if they pretend not to see what's right in front of them, then we'll know exactly what time it is. Every once in a while, a player comes along who just feels built for moments like this. Not because of the hype, not because of the headlines, but because every test life has thrown at him. He's met it with calm, and that's Shedeur Sanders in a nutshell. Go back and look at his time at Colorado. Forget the celebrity, forget the cameras, focus on the tape. Down 2 touchdowns, hostile crowd, chaos all around him, and the kid never blinked. Pocket collapsing, still scanning. Blitz incoming, still reading. Teammates panicking. He's out there steadying everyone, almost like he's slowing down time. That's not something you teach. That's something you're wired with. People talk about NFL readiness like it's just arm talent or footwork. Nah, NFL readiness is poise. It's how you move when the world's on fire. And Shedeur's already shown he can turn a burning sideline into a breathing one. Colorado wasn't a juggernaut. They were a rebuild in real time. But every week he made them believe they belonged. That's leadership, not a pep talk, not a soundbite. Presence. And that's exactly what Cincinnati needs right now. A reset of energy, not just a name on the depth chart. Picture this, Jamar Chase in the film room, watching plays where Shedeur drops back, sees pressure, stands tall, and still puts it right on the numbers. Imagine him thinking, yeah, I can work with that, because that's what playmakers want. A quarterback who gives them a chance, who's not afraid to let it rip. Shedeur's timing, his anticipation, his ability to buy that extra half second. Those are traits that turn good offenses into great ones. It's the same DNA that made Burrow special. But here's the twist. Shedeur adds his own flavor. The quick trigger, the improvisation, the calm with a touch of flash. It's Burrow's grit meeting Shedeur's style. Old school toughness meets new school cool. That's a dangerous blend. And don't underestimate what that could mean in the locker room. This team's been through it. Injuries, heartbreak, pressure from a city that expects wins every Sunday. They need a voice that's not afraid to say, we're not done. Someone who's been doubted before, who knows how to block out the noise and lead by example. That's Shedeur. The kid's been under scrutiny since high school. Every move dissected, every throw analyzed, every win dismissed as because of his dad. And yet here he is, still ascending, still unshaken. That's the kind of backbone Cincinnati could rally behind while Burrow heals up. You put a player like that in stripes, and you're not just filling a spot. You're reigniting belief. You're telling the locker room, we still expect greatness. And that matters because confidence is contagious. Energy is contagious. You give Shedeur that huddle, and the temperature changes. You can feel it already. This isn't about replacing a legend. It's about preparing the next one. If the Bengals are serious about winning, really serious, There's only one move left to make. You don't tweet through it. You don't hope your backup becomes a miracle. You pick up the phone and you make the call. Because right now, this franchise is sitting at a crossroads. One path leads to relevance, momentum, belief. The other? A slow fade into the background. The same kind of quiet collapse we've seen from too many almost teams before. Look, I get it. Every front office wants to look patient, calculated, smart. But the truth is, the NFL doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't pause so you can evaluate options. Windows close, locker rooms cool off. By the time you realize what you lost, it's already gone. So if the Bengals actually believe in what they've built, in this defense, in this coaching staff, in this fan base that's been all in since day one, they make the call. If they believe in Jamar Chase, they make the call. Because Chase deserves a quarterback who can keep his ceiling high, who can throw him open, who can make defenses fear the deep shot again. Every wasted week is another prime performance slipping through their fingers. If they believe in their legacy, they make the call. Because legacies aren't built by being careful. They're built by betting big when everyone else is scared to move. That's how dynasties are made, by front offices that refuse to settle for good enough. And right now, Jake Browning isn't a plan, he's a pause button. You can't pause greatness. You chase it. And here's the crazy part. This move wouldn't just change the Bengals, it would shake the entire league. Imagine the headlines, Shedeur Sanders to Cincinnati. You know what happens next? Every camera in America's on that city. Dion's on the sideline, the world's watching, and suddenly every primetime slot wants a piece of the Bengals again. That locker room would feel it instantly. Energy, swagger, belief. You'd have players walking into the facility with a different kind of purpose. Because when a team makes a bold move like that, it tells every man on the roster, we're still going for it. Now picture the other side. The silence, the missed opportunity, the season slipping into mediocrity while fans talk themselves into moral victories. That's not Bengals football. That's not what Burrow built. You can't talk about chasing a ring while letting a year of Chase, Higgins, and Mixon go to waste. This roster deserves better than wait and see. So here's the truth. Every great story begins with one bold decision. For the Bengals, that decision is spelled S-H-E-D-E-U-R. Because you don't wait for hope in this league. You trade for it. So I'll ask you, what do you think? Should the Bengals pull the trigger and go get Shedeur Sanders? Or is there something bigger keeping this move from happening? Something the league doesn't want us to see? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation, it's just getting started.